In this video, I am going to define binomial probability distribution. We will also look at common notations and formulas and some examples on binomial probability distribution. So now let's define binomial probability distribution. Probability distribution of the number of successes in a sequence of an independent trial where result of each trial has either a success or a failure is binomial probability distribution. Now let's look at common notations and formulas. Number of trials is n. Probability of successes in a trial is p. Probability of failure in a trial is q. Q equals to 1 minus p. And probability of x successes, which is px, equals to this. So this is the formula for probability of x successes, where the term nx is this. Now let's look at this example here. There are 12 multiple choice questions with 4 options for each in a quiz. And for the given scenario, we have to find these 3 different probabilities. 1, 2, 3. Before we work on this problem, we need to know our n, we need to know our p and our q. So here, n is 12, which is given here in the question. P is 0.25 because there are 4 options in each problem and the chance of getting a problem is 1 over 4, which is 0.25. So therefore, our P is 0.25. And our Q is 1 minus P. So it is 1 minus 0.25, which is 0.75. So now let's look at this first problem here. So here we are supposed to find the probability of answering exactly 7 questions correctly. So what that means is we have to find probability of x equals to 7. So for all of these questions here, I'm going to use formula, TI calculator, and Excel to solve or to find their probabilities. So for this one, let's start with formula. So for probability, this is the formula. P of x equals to n factorial over n minus x factor times x factor and px qn minus x. P7 equals to, now since we know our, so let me write down our x here is 7. So since we know our npqx, all we are doing here is we'll be plugging in these numbers in this formula. So doing that, we get 12 factorial over 12 minus 7 factor 7 factorial. And here is 0.25. Our x is 7. And here it is 0.75. 12 minus 7. So plugging these numbers in calculator, this whole thing comes out to be 0.0115. So now let me show you how to find this probability using calculator. Since we are trying to find probability at a point, we'll be using binomial PDF function in a calculator. So for that, you need to hit second, go to distribution, then use this arrow key to go all the way down to binomial PDF. Okay. So now hit enter. So here trial is 12, so punch in 12, then p-value here is 0.25. Let me move my calculator here so that we can see those numbers, n, p, q, and x. and our x here is 7. So let's put that there, then hit enter, then hit enter. So this is what we got using calculator, which is exactly the same as what we got using formula. Now let me show you how to find this probability using Excel. Now type in equals, then type in binom dot dist, then put parentheses. So our number in this case is 7, then type comma, so trials is 12, then type 12, then type comma, then probability here is 0.25, then type comma. So for this one, we would be using false, type FALSE, or you can also type 0. Since we are trying to find probability only at one particular point, which is 7, so we will use false here. Then close your parentheses, then hit tab or enter. So here we got the exact same number using calculator, using Excel, and also using formula. Now let's look at another problem. Let's look at this problem here. We are supposed to find the probability of answering less than 8 questions correctly. We are supposed to find this. To find this probability here, we can either find probability of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and add those together. Or what we can do is we can just do 1 minus probability of 8 plus probability of 9 plus probability of 10 plus probability of 11 and probability of 12. Instead of finding probabilities of 0 to 7, we can just find probability of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and subtract that from 1. So this will have less calculations to do, so we will just do that. Now, let's first find probability of 8. We can find probability of 8 using this formula here. N factorial over n minus x factorial times x factorial. Px q n minus x. Now, all we need to do is substitute our values of n, p, q, and x in this formula here. Here we already have our np cubed. For finding probability of 8, our x will be 8. So now let's substitute our x and pq in this formula here. On doing that, we get probability of 8 equals to 12 factorial over 12 minus 8 factorial times 8 factorial 0.258, and our q is 0.75, our n is 12, and minus 8. So now you can put all these numbers into your calculator. On doing that, I get 0.00238. Now let's find probability of 9. So again, we will be substituting values of n, p, q, x in this given formula here. So for this, our x is 9. So substituting the numbers onto that formula, we get 12 factorial over 12 minus 9 factorial times 9 factorial. And 0.259, 0.75, 12 minus 9. Now you can put this number into your calculator, and doing that I get 0.000354. Now using the same formula here, you can easily calculate probability of 10, probability of 11, and probability of 12. Here I will just list those probabilities. Probability of 10 equals to 0.00035. Probability of 11 equals to 0.00000214, and probability of 12 equals to 0.000000059. Now what we need to do is we need to add all these probabilities together, that is probability of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and subtract it from 1. So on adding all these probabilities, we get, let me just write it down here. So probability of 8 plus probability of 9 plus probability of 10 plus probability of 11 plus probability of 12 is 0.027711199. Now we can subtract this number here from 1 to get this probability. This is equal to 0.9972. So this is what we are supposed to find here. So the probability of answering less than 8 questions correctly is 0.9972. Now let me show you how to find this probability using calculator. Here we are supposed to find less than 8. Less than 8 means 0, 1, 2, 3 through 7, which means everything up to 7. So we can just use binomial CDF. For that, go to second, then distribution. Use this arrow key to go all the way down here to binomial CDF, then hit enter. So our trials is 12. Our P is 0.25 and our X is 7. Then hit enter. So we got this number using calculator, which is exactly the same as what we got using formula. Now let me show you how to find this probability using Excel. For that, type in equals, then type in binom.dist, put parentheses, then number here is 7, then put comma, our trials is 12, then type in comma, our P value is 0.25, then type in comma. So here we'll be typing true or 1. Since we are looking at the cumulative probability up to 7, we will use true. So you can just type true or 1. Then close your parentheses, then hit tab or enter. So this is exactly the same as what we got using calculator and also using formula. Now let's work on the very last problem. Now let's look at this problem here. Here we are supposed to find this probability of x greater than 8, which means we can just find probability of 9, probability of 10, probability of 11 and add those together. Let's use this formula to find probabilities. So it's probability of x equals to n factorial over n minus x factorial times x factorial. Px times qn minus x. Now, using this formula here, let's find the probability of 9. Our NPQ is right here. For this case, our x is 9. So all we need to do is plug in those numbers into this formula here. So doing that, we get 12 factorial over 12 minus 9 factorial times 9 factorial. Our P is 0.25. Our X is 9. Our Q is 0.75. And our N is 12 and our X is 9. Now, all we need to do is put these numbers in a calculator, and doing that, I get 0.000354. So using this formula here, you can find probability of 10, probability of 11, and probability of 12. So for now, I am just going to list those here. So probability of 10 equals to 0.000035. Probability of 11 equals to 0.00000214. And finally, probability of 12 equals to 0.00000059. Now, all we need to do is add this probability, that is probability of 9, probability of 10, probability of 11, and probability of 12. So adding these probabilities, we get 0.000391. So which is approximately equal to 0.0004. So this here is the probability of answering greater than 8 questions correctly. Now, let me show you how to get this in a calculator. Let me show you how to find this probability in a calculator. Since we are trying to find probabilities of 9, probabilities of 10, 11, and 12, we will be using Binomial PDF. For that, go to second distribution, go all the way down until you see Binomial PDF. Then hit enter. For trials, we have 12. For p-value, we have 0.25. Then for x, since here we are trying to find probability of 9, our x value will be 9 here. Hit enter and hit enter again. So this is the probability of 9. Now let's find probability of 10. So go to second distribution, go all the way down where you see Binomial PDF. Our trials and p-value will remain same. The only thing that we need to change is x. Since we are trying to find probability of 10, our x value will be 10. Then hit enter, enter again. And let's find probability of 11. So for that, go to second distribution, go all the way down to Binomial PDF, then hit enter. So our trials and p-value will remain same. We will change our x value to 11. So 11, then hit enter, then hit enter. So finally, we have one more to do. So for that, go to second, distribution, go all the way down to binomial PDF, then hit enter. Then you'll be changing your x value here to 12 since we are trying to find probability of 12, then hit enter. So finally, all we need to do is add all these probabilities that we just found here in a calculator. We got this using calculator, which is exactly the same as what we got using formula here. Now let me show you how to find this probability using Excel. For that, type in equals, type in binomial dot dist, then put parentheses. Here number will be, since we are trying to find probability of 9, so number will be 9. Then comma, our trials is 12, then our p is 0.25. Since we want to find probability only at 9, we will use false. So we can just type false, or you can also type 0, then close your parentheses, then hit tab. So that's the probability for 9. Now let's find probability for 10. Type in equals, then type in binomial dot dist, then put parentheses. Our number here will be 10 since we are trying to find probability of 10. Our trial is 12, comma, our p is 0.25, then comma, then we'll be typing false again because we are trying to find probability at 10. So let's type false, or you can also type 0, then close your parentheses, then hit enter. So this is the probability of 10. Now let's find probability of 11. So for that, again, type in equals, type in binomial dot dist, then put parentheses. Our number here will be 11 since we are trying to find probability of 11. Our trials is 12, then our p is 0.25. Then we'll be typing false here, or you can also type 0 because we are trying to find probability at 11. So then close your parentheses, then hit enter. So this is probability of 11. Now let's find probability of 12. So let's type in equal, type binomial dot dist, then put parentheses. Our number is 12 since we are trying to find probability of 12. Our trial is also 12. Our p is 0.25. Then again here we'll be typing false. Then close your parentheses, then hit enter again. Here, for us to find a probability of answering greater than 8 questions correctly, we will be adding all these probabilities that we just found. For that, you can type equals, then type in sum, then put parentheses, go up here and select this, then close parentheses, then hit equals. This is exactly what we found using formula and also using calculator. Now, here I have listed all these probabilities here and we are done. Thank you for watching. We hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe our channel. We will be bringing more and more videos on variety of topics.